This is a brief overview of the program of Microsoft Excel. Excel is a spreadsheet which basically uses numbers in calculations. Each column is using a letter, each row is using a number. The intersection of a column with a row gives us a cell. The address of this cell is D3 because it's in the D column and the 3 row. So wherever you click H5, but you can see it up here. So that means if you want to look for something in a cell or enter information in a cell called B5, enter in the address box up here and it will jump to B5. Let us put some information in B5. If the cell or column is not wide enough to display the full information here, we can click and drag like this on the divider between the two columns. We'll undo that, or we can double click, which gives us a neat separation. So obviously these headings here, I can format those. Format means change, so I can make them bold, change the font color, etc. Unhighlight. So before you change anything with computers, you have to highlight first. So if I were to highlight these months of the year here and make them color green, first you highlight means select, and then we'll choose a green color and also give it bold. Unhighlight. Now what Excel is particularly good for is for doing calculations. So for instance, let's say these are sales in millions, different cities, different months. So I put the word total over here, and underneath on the January row in this cell I put a formula in here which adds the total of these 4 cities for that particular month. So I just type in equals. Every formula begins with equals. I can now click and drag those 4 months and hit enter. Okay, it gives me an error message. This would be where we would use a function rather than a formula. So I'm going to step back and start again. In that cell, a simple formula there would be equals, click on the cell and put in the plus, shift and plus, click on the London cell, plus Moscow, plus New York, hit enter. So the total sales for the 4 cities for January was 169.9 million. The formula appears up here, equals C6 plus D6 plus E right to F. Now the problem is that that list could be 100 long, 1000 long, and there's a lot of entering in of different cell numbers, and hence the possibility of error is huge. So if I remove all that and put a function with the formula, hit equals and type in the sum function, and if I open the bracket, which is shift and 9, now I drag the 4 cities figures, hit enter, got the same address, equals the sum, which is a function of the contents of the range between this and this. I can copy that formula. Every formula begins with an equals. This formula has a function which gives it extra power. I can copy that by going to copy and choose the next cell and paste. Or I can choose, instead of one cell, I can choose all the cells here and paste and press escape. Now we've totaled all the cells. If I want the total of the Beijing sales, I type in total here for the whole year, not just for 1 month. And the cell underneath here, same applies. Equals, put in the sum, open the bracket, click and drag from the middle of each cell, hit enter, gives me the total. It's a very powerful program. If I click the handle here, this little dark square handle, and drag across to the next cell, it copies the formula, but it also changes something. For instance, this formula in cell C20 is equals the sum of C6 to C17. As I drag it in here, it becomes D6 to D17, and as I drag it right across to the others, I go to the last one, and it comes to F, because it knows this is the F is totaling E, is totaling the D column, is totaling the C column. So very, very clever. This is a worksheet. It's called worksheet 1. I can double click to name it, and I can call it sales. On highlight someplace else, I can now click on the plus here to create a new worksheet. A workbook is the complete file, and there are many different worksheets in different workbooks. So I have a sheet called sheet 1. There's nothing in it. I'm going to name it. I'm going to call it costs. So just like I have sales in one worksheet, I've costs in another worksheet. I can highlight, starting in cell B6, and copy all of the months and go to B6. If I type in here B6, hit enter, there's B6. I can now paste in those months in here, and I go back to my sales worksheet. In C5 I can place the cities in here, so let's highlight the cities and the total, and I go to copy, I go to my costs worksheet, I go to C5, case doesn't matter, hit enter, and I paste. Now this will give us the costs for all the cities for the same months and the totals also. So it's a very powerful program. You could have another worksheet in here which gives us, let's say, the profit for each city for each month, giving a total as well, across here or down below. So a very powerful program. If this highlight section is what they call moving ants, it means that it's, number one, it's selected, but it also means that it has been copied to the clipboard. So by pressing escape, we release those items from the clipboard. A simple formula in Excel within the sales worksheet, if I type in a simple formula like cars, make it new cars. So a company has 5 new cars, and it has old cars or used cars, and we give it 7. So I can put a total in here without using the function which gives power to a formula. I put a very simple basic formula. Every formula begins with equals. Equals this cell, the contents of the cell, plus the contents of this cell. Hit enter. 5 and 7 is 12. It also appears up on the formula bar, which is good for editing. Now, if we discover that there were actually 6 cars there, as I hit enter, the formula corrects to 13. So that's a simple formula. So we're using plus, minus, divide, and multiply. If I want to divide, let's say, profit, I can use a cell underneath if necessary for 2018. This is just, the text is only just a description, it's not part of the formula, and I can place our formula in here, our figure in here, say 450,000. Okay, what currency is this? If I go to the currency item here on the, is it called a ribbon? Ribbon is located underneath the menu bar or tab bar. Tab bar is located underneath the title bar, which gives us the title of the file and the title of the program or application. Back to our ribbon, I can collapse the ribbon by clicking here, this up arrow, collapse ribbon. It disappears, gives us more space. To get a ribbon back, I right click anywhere on the menu bar and untick collapse the ribbon. It comes back. So if I highlight the cell with the figure in here, go to the number, these are called groups. Each group, by the way, has an arrow. If you click, it will enlarge that group to take up a bigger area. And let's say I want to choose currency, and I want to choose a symbol of many different currencies, as you can see. Every possible currency you can imagine. And you have euro in here. Click OK. So 450,000 euro. If I didn't have this mark here, right, it has the separator mark here, but if I wanted to add it, I would click on the common style 1000 separator here, and if I want to increase or decrease my decimal points, I use these. Now let's say profit is 450,000, and you want to find out how much per month. So you enter a formula here, it starts with equals, and you type in or click the cell containing the profit. The divide symbol is the / underneath the question mark on the bottom row of your keyboard, / and then type in 12. So per month we've made this profit. So you have plus, minus, multiply and divide. They're called operands. They're the 4 different symbols that are used in ordinary standard formulas like this. We have an equals with the formula. Earlier on we used a function to add power to a formula, sum. If I want the average sales here, or possibly the average for each month, so if I took the word average over here, and I choose this cell, I type in equals average, full word, open the bracket, and click and drag the months. I don't have to put in the last bracket, it knows what I'm doing. And the average per month for sales, let me just reduce the decimal points there now, was 52.42. You can see that one big item in July is increasing the total. So if I change this to, let's say it was an error, 24, that will do, hit enter. Notice the average changes here. The total also changes. Lots of things changed. Control Z, changes over here. Control Y, shortcuts to undo or redo up here. Just like Control Z, Control Y. So now we have a simple formula here. Divide by, plus. It gives us a brief overview. And finally, when we're saving our file save as, usually go to browse. What location do we want to save in? Let us say desktop for simplicity.